G'day, how you going here? It's Brad Shepherd from Create PT Wealth, and here today with another one of our Create PT Wealth Success webinars. And very excited today to be speaking about a very important topic, something for me that I find very interesting, and it's called "What Does a Firewalk Have to Do with Business?" And you might be sitting there and going, yeah, what does a firewalk have to do with business? And joined here by my colleague, mate, business partner, Jason Ubanowicz, who has had a lot of experience in this area. And so, Jace, welcome to the interview. And I guess first question I've got for you is, what's the deal with walking on fire? And I guess, why would somebody want to risk being the main course at a barbecue?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Mate, as you know, like I said, it has been something that I've had a lot of experience in over the years. And when I first come across this whole idea of walking on fire, I guess my first reaction was a combination of that's cool, and also why the hell would you want to do something like that? And I guess to answer your question is what's the deal with it and why would you want to do it? Well, if we put it in aspects of, think about all the other things in your life that you may want to achieve, do, or undertake, and have had doubts or thought that's impossible, I couldn't do it, I'm not educated enough, I don't have a degree, I'm not good at talking to people, at selling myself. I guess all those things would come into account. Why do a firewalk? Well, it's to do something that you thought was impossible, get the victory from doing it, and get the realisation that if you can do that, what else could you do?
And so I guess a carry on from that then is, if that's the case, what does the firewalk have to do with, achieving success in business?
Well, I think, once again, in business, we get confronted with a lot of stuff that we may not have developed yet. And what I mean by that is, if you get into business, then it's going to quickly present to you all the areas that you need to get better at, overcome, adapt to. And once again, if you've ever been in business, and I'm assuming everyone on the call has been in business or getting into business, then what you identify with this is probably a time when you thought, I don't like sales, very confronting, I'm not good at it, I don't like feeling pushy. All those areas you can reflect back to a firewalk. And when we have people turn up to do the firewalk, I guess what they're confronted with is 2,000 degrees of burning heat. So how the hell am I going to get from this end to 6 meters down the track without getting burnt? And I guess the same thing. What that has to do with being successful in business is, once again, another reflection of, well, if you can do that and you can get through it, surely the stuff that I'm facing in business shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah. So really, I guess what we're hearing is it becomes a metaphor for what's possible, A, in life, and then B, direct correlation to your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess, a carry on from that. I mean, do you have to do a firewalk then, or do you have to do the firewalk to become a success in business?
No, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are on a firewalk and that are doing just fine. It's I'm not sure of anybody else, but it's in our nature, to do things that may scare us a bit, think are confronting. There's a whole bunch of these examples: bungee jumping, parachuting. That you don't have to do any of those things, to get through a fear, a limitation. However, what we do find is that people that come along to this firewalk, what we find is that most people aren't going to do it. They're just going to come and watch, and they're only there to watch some other poor bugger burn their feet. What happens is, those people that go there with the intention not to walk and then do walk, they're the ones still raving about it, years later, and the reason why is because they've done something that they thought they couldn't do. So you don't need to do it to be successful. However, in times that you're struggling or you're having challenges in business, I guess you've got something to look back on and say, well, hey, remember that time I did that firewalk? Now, if I can do that once again, I'm sure I can get through this bit of challenge in business.
Yeah, and I'm guessing too, like we were indicating before, it being a metaphor for what can happen in life and in business. I'm assuming there's probably the on the flip side too. You might have people that think, "Wow, that's really super cool. I'd love to do that. Sounds really awesome." Until you get up there and you actually see the fire burning, the 2,000 degree heat.
Yeah.
And
So I just cut out a bit. What was it? Yeah.
sure. I'm guessing you're probably on the flip side. You get a lot of people who will see the firewalk and think, "Wow, this sounds pretty cool. I'd love to have a crack at that." Until they rock up and see the fire burning in the 2,000 degree heat, and then suddenly that can just change your mind a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's something else when what we do is we bring everyone out, they've been inside practicing, what we'd call like a mantra or and really that is just to teach people how to get into the right physical, emotional state. And so when they do it,
Mm,
they're going and they're believing that they can get through this. So we practice that, obviously inside
mm,
as a test run. Take them outside, light this fire up,
mm,
and it's like the biggest bonfire you've ever seen, and you can feel the heat, singeing your eyebrows from 10 metres away from it.
mm,
And yeah, it does start to put some doubt through people's minds about, am I really going to do this? And
mm.
there's a picture of it there. That was just the start of it being lit. And so, all those people around there at this point are wondering, have I made the right decision turning up? It sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool when I was at home thinking about doing it, and now I'm confronted with, am I actually going to go through with this?
Yeah, and
Um,
that is a real fire.
that is a real fire, yeah, and the heat, you know.
So look, you've been involved with personal development for years. You've been running firewalks for years. Could you give us a for anyone doing it, could you give us some indication on what they might expect to get out of it?
Yeah, yeah. Look, sure. I mean, I think the main thing is that once again they can achieve things they thought were impossible, and we've had I've lost count of many people who put through these firewalks, and of course, Brad, like you did one with myself last year, I think it was,
Yep.
or the year before, and you just see people automatically transform, and so what this does, instead of maybe doing long courses or something where you've got to get a degree. Getting a degree can take 4 years before you get to the end of it and wonder if you got the goods or not. Are you going to pass or fail?
Mm,
Where it's instant transformation. So the moment that you decide you actually had a victory anyway, get to the other end and you see the transformation, you see the idea in people's eyes and their minds, you see their whole body shift, that they just did something that they thought there was no way it was possible. So it's instant transformation. And when you say what kind of things can people expect, well, that's the main thing. If we can get a breakthrough right here, right now, why delay the process? And what the Firewalk does is it accelerates that, because you do
mm,
have a choice in the areas of life. And once you make the decision that you're going to stand in front of that fire and walk,
mm,
that becomes then something that's a new habit, a new program that you then take with you going forward in life. And so some of the things that people can expect is that they'll deal with confrontation more effectively or more calmly. They'll be more they'll be better in their relationships. They'll be better in business in terms of negotiation. And when you ask why, it's because they've had a shift in something that is deep down a fundamental belief for them, and that is that they can do anything, and that they're not going to die or get wounded. So
yep.
there's a lot of powerful stuff that comes out of this. It's not just about, hey, how cool is this to walk across fire. It goes a lot deeper than that. And like I said, it's an instant transformation
Mm.
that we can provide somebody on the spot.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. I guess so. What I'm hearing, Ren, then the exercise is it's really about doing something that you thought wasn't possible, and so that's the real lesson that I'm getting so far. And I mean, if this is the case, Jace, why is the lesson so important in business?
But, like I said, like we all have choices in everything we do in life, and we're focusing on business primarily, but we could talk about relationships, we could talk about health, we could talk about money. And the interesting thing that I found with is what it does bring up for people. And a quick I guess a quick story to illustrate this. We were running a firewalk many years ago with Paul Blackburn. Some of you will be aware of Paul, some of you may not. And the email went out. We promoted it for a while, and one of our long-term clients, thought, yeah, I've got to go and do this. There's definitely stuff in my life I need to get some answers with. It'd be great to go and experience. And anyway, she had about a 2-hour drive to the event though, so where she lived to where the firewalk was getting done was quite a journey, and she's driven out there only to find out when she got there that she's gone there on the wrong night. So the firewalk was on the Sunday, but she rocked up on the Saturday night. And in that particular case, she got exactly what she was looking for that night anyway. So sometimes the decision to make a start or have a go that gives you the results you're looking for. So she didn't do the firewalk, but she got everything she wanted. The other thing that you'll find with the firewalks is that it's a direct reflection of what's going on for you. So some people will, they may get burnt halfway going into the firewalk. So say the firewalk's 6 metres. At 3 metre points, someone may get burnt. When I say burnt, you're not got 3rd-degree burns. The worst you'll get doing this stuff is like just a bit of a blister. It's not pleasant, but you're not going to get serious damage. And but what that will reflect is someone who starts something and then stops halfway. So that can be a reflection. Maybe it's someone who gets to very much close to the end, and then you watch them almost stop. And I've seen that happen, and it's a bit like, they're one step away from reaching their goal or target, and they freeze and lock up. So it very much can be a good reflection of where you're at.
So I mean,
what I'm saying there is it highlights your deep-seated beliefs and patterns about success very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm hearing you say then is that word of reflection, how does it reflect it? Well, that seems to be a pretty obvious way how that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, another thing that highlighted for me, of course, you said that some people can and will get burnt, but it's really all about committing yourself to the process and committing yourself to the journey. So it's like the concept of sticking something out to the end.
Yeah, that's right, and it can sound like almost cruel when in some cases it's actually not a bad thing that someone does get burnt. And when I say burn again, I'm not saying skin melting and off to the hospital. I'm just talking about blisters. Like if you burnt your finger on a hot plate or something like that, you'll blister up, and it's not pleasant. However, what that does is it shows everybody else who was there that was thinking maybe it's a trick or maybe there's something to it, that it was actually fair income and real.
Yeah.
So I mean that is definitely one of the things about when people do get burnt.
Yeah.
It can be a good thing for those people who are wondering if it was a trick or not. However, if you're the one who's got a blister and burn, it's not so enjoyable. But what you've got to remember is what Brad said, and that is it can be a short little bit of, I guess, pain or discomfort for a term breakthrough. And what amazes me about doing this kind of stuff is the insights that you can gain from it. And there's a reflection of everything we do in life, and if you're not prepared to go through a bit of discomfort or a bit of challenge, it pretty much will mean, once again, that could be how you do life, and you'll even watch people in a firewalk, and we observe people, and you'll have the people that they want to go first because they just want to get over and done with, and maybe that's how they do life as well. And maybe that's not a great thing either, because maybe they don't stop to think about, hey, is this such a great idea? Then you'll find there's people that'll sit back and they'll want to wait to make sure that half a dozen people get through all right before they'll try it. And maybe that's a reflection for them. And maybe that's an opportunity to go, well, hang on, how I'm feeling is, I'm going to go last, or I'm going to go in the middle somewhere because I don't want to be last. Maybe that's an opportunity to go, can I show the break to go first? Because what I do is I normally sit back and wait. and then go. And what that's caused me in my life is always missing out. So if only I would have done it sooner, I would have been further down the track.
Yeah.
And there's everywhere in between. So did that make sense, Brad?
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, and reminds me very much of the first time I went bungee jumping, which was over in New Zealand, over the big gorge there. Took us out on the cable car. There's about 10 of us. What I didn't realise was that they weighed everyone in because they sort of, they counterbalance the weight for getting you back up. And of course, I was the heaviest, so heaviest off first. And so it was all, I was all super pumped until I was the first one to stand on the edge. And I had exactly that sensation and going, okay, beauty, I was all into this. I would have preferred to watch a few people go first, but I'm it. And the expression on my face certainly changed from super pumped up to, oh my God, I have to stand on the edge now, so.
Yeah, yeah.
And so basically, if I understand you correctly, doing a firewalk is just another way to bring up our own personal limiting beliefs and a way for you to break through them, to give a new result.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, just once again, this is just a quick way to do that because there's so many areas for us to hide. And if you're in business, and you're your own boss, it's even worse because, who's watching you all day? Well, it's you. And,
Yep.
we get good. And I'm not saying we as in I'm not included in this. I include myself in this. This is why this is why I do what I do because I'm trying to stay at the head of my own class. And really make sure I don't let myself off the hook either. But we get good at running stories in our lives and, not doing what we need to do and, fudging off. And, I guess if you're at a job where there's a supervisor watching over you or whatever, or tasks need to be presented and achieved because there's KPIs,
Yep.
then that needs to be done. However, in business for ourselves, it's quite easy to let ourselves off the hook. So, something like this, there is no hiding, and it will just, enhance anything that you're going through. And the most important thing, this is what I teach it anyway, is, it's that, like, take notice of how you're feeling, in the training room. So when you're in the room practicing and going through, see how you feel there, and then in relation to then how you feel when a fire gets lit. And what we want to teach is that emotional intelligence. So, instead of trying to lock down and suppress your fear, if that's what you're feeling at that moment, learning how to work through and express it because, believe me, I can see the looks on people's faces where their body might be there, but they're both. And if that happens in business, that shows up as procrastination. So, if you're sitting on the call and you've gone, has there been something you need to do? You're not really sure where to start, how to approach it, and next minute you're vaguing out or you're doing something, you're checking emails. That's the same way you've checked out. And that's, once again, the pattern that needs to be broken, and hence the firewalk is a way to, get you a new belief in that area.
Yeah, well, that pretty much brought me to the point where we were heading, because we are speaking about business now and the connection between the firewalk and in business. So, can you give us an example of an experience you might have faced in business where the firewalk principle relates, without having to do the firewalk, of course?
Well, I've probably got many, but just trying to think of one. I guess. And you'll know this because you know me well enough, Brad, that shooting first, going into something without really thinking about it, was probably the big thing that I got out of the firewalk. And the first time I did the firewalk, I did get burnt. I was the one that got burnt, and it's because I thought, let me at it. I'm going. Here I go. And maybe a bit similar to your story. I remember being at the start of the fire, going, "You idiot." You're going first. No one else has done this, all because it was out of my ego in terms of wanting to prove something to myself, and I ended up getting burnt, and then to the point where I didn't even want to tell anybody that I got burnt. So I was in massive pain. It was burnt, and all I wanted to do was get my foot into some kind of hot, cold ice water or bath. But I endured it. I put up with it. And what that taught me in business is that's what I used to do. I would ask for help or, getting assistance, I would try to go alone because I didn't want people to think that I wasn't capable, So it's funny how the way that limited me is that, no one knew that I needed help. People always thought that I was okay, that I was going to get through because that's the image I projected. And what that really did was shut me off to growing and expanding. And, when I did have a team, I wouldn't allow them to help me, This is early on the piece. I wouldn't allow them to help me build the business. I was too concerned with looking like I knew what I was doing and that I was okay. And, really that is the quickest way to limit your growth. And what I had to learn to be was more vulnerable. And so the second time I did the Firewalk, I actually just said how I was feeling, and how I was really feeling was scared, And as soon as I said that, I felt dramatically better. And of course, I received was all these people giving me support. And what I learned was that you've got to allow the people around you. You've got to be vulnerable enough to ask for help and be assisted. And it's what I love so much about working with yourself is that there's no ego and you're very open and you want your people around you to help you. That's why they're there. And I can't tell you the difference that has made, and especially in this business here, we've got a bunch of people with great PT wealth that, I value their input and the funny thing is, logically, that you go, hey, that's what you've hired them for. So
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah, look, I agree with you wholeheartedly, what you said there, and I guess you've answered the question that I had there in going, well, how did this new belief or this habit benefit you? And I guess what I'm hearing there loud and clear is that, it enabled you to, open yourself up and ask for help when you felt like you needed it. It enabled you to, to be vulnerable when you might have otherwise wanted to, to cover up that sensation or that emotion that was going on there. So full credit to you for that, because it's just so important to check in, because I hear you say it time and time again about the way we do life is the way we do business, and vice versa. The way we do business is the way we do life. And this, again, just becomes another metaphor, another reflection for everything that's going on for us.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, I mean, if we want to go deeper, the reality was what it was going to, what it was giving me was loneliness, because I was so concerned about having people not think that I wasn't good enough. The actual end result of that is being lonely, because you shut everyone out. And for those who are going to build teams and build organisations, that's exactly what they'll get. But they won't get that you're lonely. They'll just get that you think you know it all.
Yep. And
you don't need help. And then that can relate to them in terms of they're not needed, they're not valued, and it can really be a really big hiccup in your business if that's how you do it. And that's why I admire the people that they're strong and assertive, but they're also vulnerable and when they need to be, and can allow people to see that.
Yep.
Because people do need to see that. When I say people, like people in your life, personal life and business, they need to see that you're not Superman,
yep.
you're Superwoman.
Yep.
And that you're flesh and blood and you're human. And, that allows other people to grow, because, hey, that's why the person next to you, they might just have the answer you're looking for, but that won't happen if you're not open to that, taking place.
Yeah. Powerful, incredibly powerful stuff. And I know for myself, getting around this personal development side of things, which I just see as just a constant and never-ending journey to learn new experiences, to be able to rise to the next level, and feel blessed to be around it. Because I know that everything that happens around the Firewalk when we're down there and we're participating in it, it's not just walking over the 2,000-degree burning coals, but it's the exercise, the activities we do beforehand, which becomes the lead up to that, and everything that spells out.
And can I just say that you if you ever go and do a Firewalk, if there's something that you do, or a bungee jump, a parachute, just be aware how you are that week going into it, because I guarantee you're going to start behaving differently. As soon as you know that thing's coming up, it's going to start bringing stuff up. So you don't need to wait just till the Firewalk to get what you're looking for. If you be aware of what you're going through and feeling that week, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to get some breakthroughs and maybe some behaviours that don't serve you.
Yeah, that's great. Now, the other thing I've heard you speak about a lot, Jace, is your buying time principle. So could you give us an explanation about that and to the people who are listening to this?
Yeah, sure. And you know, buying time come out of this Firewalk, you know, learning you know, kind of come up with over the years. And the buying time principle boils down to, you know, a pretty simple concept, and that is that, um, and it's not new to anybody, I'm sure. The one thing we can never get back is time, right? So, you know, you can make some money, you can lose some money, you know, you'll be able to get that back. You know, like at 65 years of age, 300 grand is the jackpot. So, you know, money you can pretty much, if you don't desire and you're happy enough, you can get that task sorted. However, in
Mm.
terms of looking at buying time, you know, if you look at exercise, for example, like really what you're doing when you train regularly, day in, day out, even if it's small increments, and you eat healthy, you know, that 80% of the time, really what you're doing is buying yourself time. So, you know, if later in life you want to travel, you want to do things, by spending that little bit of effort now regularly, that what you're going to do is be able to be active and nimble and all the rest of it when you're older, when you want to go and travel and enjoy life, and instead of being bedridden or being reliant on other people, you know, if you have to have a major operation or surgery, then what you've actually done is bought yourself some time, because you know you're going to recover better and going to recover faster, fitter. The same in business, you know, like really what you're doing is buying your time. Now, I look at any business and I go, well, if things went bad, how long could you survive on the current way it is? And, you know, I look at our business and you know, why Brad and I, if you haven't heard us talking about it, your coaches, you probably will. And that is the third principle, where you're really trying to get some profit aside in your business. So you've got your expenses that you've got to deal with. You've got your you know, you've got your wages and stuff that you want to earn, and then you've got money that you want to get across and put into some kind of profit or savings account. Now, really what you're doing there is buying yourself time, because the more profitable your business comes using that model, the better time you have. So,
Mm.
you know, if I look at our model, like, you know, if things were to go pear-shaped, and look, let's be honest, there's things that are totally out of our control, there's natural disasters, all kinds of things that can impact us, then, you know, if you ask us, would our business be able to operate with all of its costing and all the rest of it for the next 12 months, the answer would be yes, and that's if we didn't make another cent. Now, that's what I call buying time, because we've got 12 months then to get things sorted. Now, would that be optimal? No. But what we've done is bought ourselves some time. And if you look at relationships and we change subject, well, you know, what you're doing is buying yourself time there as well. So, you know, putting a little bit of input into building quality relationships now means that you don't have to spend huge amounts of time if they go pear-shaped later on. And so I hope the concept I'm getting across is, you know, you need to be doing those little things regularly to buy yourself some time for the long term. But the problem is we avoid doing these little activities on a regular basis, and then it leads us to having to do massive amount of work and input in one key spot when everything goes pear-shaped,
Mm.
be it health, relationships, happiness, all the rest of it.
Yeah, look, I agree with you 100%, and such an important part to bring up, because we go back to the concept of looking at the correlation that exists between something like the Firewalk and how that correlates to business, and such a strong connection and carryover between what happens there, metaphorically speaking, to what happens to you in business, and the whole concept of building a business in such a way to engineer it, you know, so that provides you for the future. You know, beyond just an income, beyond just buying yourself a job, it's really all about setting yourself up for the future. So, and the buying time principle is a beautiful way to describe that, because really, it's
Sorry, man.
you go.
I was just going to say, I really one that's tailored to our industry, I guess. An example is something that I taught at the business building workshop a couple of weeks ago, and that is, you know, the whole idea that Christmas time for trainers in the industry can be a struggle. You know, can be something that's not pleasant. And you know, what used to amaze me was that I'd be speaking to trainers and I'd hear the same story from every year. Oh, you know, it's like Christmas and New Year's, it's a terrible time, all the rest of it. And you know, I sit there and I think, well, if you've identified the problem but you want to keep focused and then don't expect, the result to change. And I'm thinking, like, we have to stop and actually listen to the words we're saying sometimes. Like, saying that, you're just accepting the fact that Christmas may be a bad time and it's going to be stressful, it's not good enough. Like, we've got to go, right, I've been saying that for the last 2 or 3 years. The real question is, the better question asked is, what am I going to do about it? And so, once again, buying yourself some time. Don't leave it until November till you start thinking about, oh, geez, Christmas is coming up, what am I going to do? In the workshop the other week, I started going, right, let's now, you need to start thinking about what are you going to do leading up to Christmas to make sure that everything is in place, so the end of that year and Christmas period is an enjoyable time for you. And then not only that you're going into the new year with, with some runs on the board and some potential business already lined up. And, that really needs to start happening now. And that's buying yourself some time, like if you don't, you're going to be stressed and it's going to be an uncomfortable period and, you'll lock in that whole program and just accept that's the way it's going to be. Well, I'm saying don't accept anything that's not working for you. Challenge it, like look for the solution in it. Ask yourself, start asking your clients now, who are going away? How long are they going away for? If you don't find out that information now, it's going to be a challenge. But if you can find out that information now, because you've got plenty of time up your sleeve, then you can do something about it. You can definitely find out how much you need to earn to replace that income that's going. And look, you've been in the program long enough to probably go, well, is that a boot camp I need to put on? How many people do I need?
Do I need
all that? Is it a pre and post Christmas workout? So you lock them in for eight weeks before Christmas and after Christmas, and can you get the money up front, and that covers that money that you could have missed out over Christmas, and then moving into the back end of your business, you can then pull into ongoing clients.
And on top of that, it's going, okay, if you're looking at building some type of product, it could be something that you video, it could be a series of workouts that you video, but keep in mind that there's so many ways that you can present that to your clients. So you can video something that you can have as an actual video itself. You can have that uploaded to an unlisted page on YouTube, so it's only available to the people that purchase it. You can produce that as a physical DVD itself. You can even produce your videos in a format that can be watched on a handheld mobile. So you can export that into a small size file so that people could be on there watching it on their iPhones, and they can save that as a video so they don't have to have an internet connection to watch it. They just have to download that. You can produce that also as an MP3 audio so people could be listening to that. So so many different ways that you can take just one business concept and turn it into several different types of products, several different ways that you can get your message out there. And
I couldn't agree more.
So now, speaking of the end of the year, it's time for us to speak about the Firewalk. We've had a good chance to chat about it. We've seen the connection between business, and we're actually going to be running a Firewalk. Part of our, see the person on the screen there, that will be just replace that person's head with you. We're going to be running our end of year.
Just could interrupt there, Brad, and say that photo doesn't do it justice because of that night. That black stuff will be bright red. So the bits around the side that you can see, it all look like that because of the lighting is obviously not good. Could be red hot.
And so we will be running a Firewalk, as you probably guessed it. So it will be part of our end of year function. So just to enlighten everyone who's on the call and listening to this, we're going to be running a super 2-day event down on the Gold Coast. It's running this year on the 18th and 19th of November 2011. It runs all day Friday and all day Saturday. So make sure you do whatever you can to change things, move things around, make yourselves available. I'm going to give you a brief snapshot on what's happening on that weekend. But Jace, do you want to make a mention of that at all?
Sorry, mate, of what?
Did you want to make any mention about the Firewalk that will be happening on that day?
Look, sorry, just that I'm cutting out off and on, so I didn't get all of it. But not really, other than I guess what I've talked about in this call. What I can promise is just an amazing the spot. And if you've ever done it before, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have done it before, what you'll find is this time will be different.
Yeah.
Because you'll be different. There's always something to take out of it. And, look, it's going to be just a mind-blowing experience. You can see the guy on the photo there. Obviously, he's as north as because he didn't want anyone to be helping him. He was gone. But what you will see is people that wouldn't be that way. That would be really reserved. Just come out of the shell. And I've seen crazy stuff. I've seen people do cartwheels down the runway and stuff that they were really scared of just walking down. And next minute they do all kinds of crazy stuff. So it'll be a blast, that's for sure. I can promise you that.
That's awesome. Well, to enlighten you all on the weekend, it's going to be the first one that's run for personal trainers in Australia. Haven't seen a Firewalk yet run specifically for personal trainers and fitness professionals. You're going to join us on the beautiful Gold Coast. A lot of people travelling from around Australia, and several of our clients have already got flights booked from Melbourne, from Perth, from Canberra. So we've got people coming in from all over Australia. You're going to get to rub shoulders with like-minded fitness professionals and see the people who are at the upper echelon of the personal training game here in Australia. You join us on the Friday morning, and we're going to kick off with our Business Building Day Part 1, where we're going to invite in mine and Jason's own personal business coaches. They're by the name of Andrew and Daryl Grant. They've turned themselves into multi-millionaires by their methods on how to generate income online. And Jace, do you want to just enlighten the gang a little bit about Andrew and Daryl?
Yeah, I mean, the snapshot for them is, they had a consultancy business. They were exchanging hours, for dollars. They had a young family at the time, and they really wanted the lifestyle. That's what they were driving at. They pretty much got onto the concept of selling ebooks and selling stuff online, which was relatively new. And they sat in a classroom of about 100 people that were learning the same thing. And to memory, there was only about a handful of us that actually went and actioned it. And they were one of them. And they're pretty much what they would refer to themselves as technophobes. So they're not the people that do all the stuff online. They definitely learnt it. They definitely spent a lot of time, energy, money flying around the world learning from the best, but they don't do any of the actual hands-on stuff. They know it, but they don't want to do it. And their big thing is teaching others, how to replicate what they do. So if you sit there going, I'm hopeless online, I don't know any of that stuff, they can teach you that how to do it yourself, or they can show you a better way. Everyone's different. Some people like getting into the how to do it themselves, but look, they now live down the Gold Coast. They live right on the beach. So their house is literally on the beach. You walk out of their back door, and it's right on the beach. They travel around the world. Like Brad said, they earn about 6 or 7 million online per year. Very humble people, very down to earth, and great friends of ours for a lot of years. And look, I've got them along to share that knowledge because for us, I guess one of the things is to give you our connections as well, so you can go to that next level and see what's possible outside of what you're just currently doing. So we're going to interview them as well before they do a session. So you'll get a chance to ask them questions and really get to know them at a personal level.
Yeah, I don't know. When we were speaking about how do we, what can we do, for our people, just to expose them and help take them to the next level, and we certainly want to bring in some of the people that have had a major impact on our business life and the things that we've done. Then what will happen is we'll be, of course, running our business building day. It's going to be a jam-packed day that you have all Friday. You're going to come back. We're going to be knocking off, having a buffet lunch. You're going to be fed all weekend. You're not going to go hungry, that's for sure. We're going to then get into the personal development side of it, which we will call our Blockage Busters session on the Friday afternoon, which is going to give you, the opportunity to start exploring what it's going to be and what you would like to break through, which is going to help you achieve the success and more success than you would have dreamed of for 2012. Then, of course, we'll have a ceremonious lighting of the fire where you'll have an opportunity to see what happens there, fill ourselves with a bite to eat, and we will hold off on the alcohol until after the Firewalk. And we'll wait till it's nice and dark till you can really see the fire burning, and then we'll get right into the activity. And no doubt you've heard plenty about that, and there'll be the anticipation building already. You'll be staying at the Radisson Resort on the Gold Coast. It's a spectacular part of the Gold Coast. We're going to wake up on the Saturday morning and we're going to be running an elite personal trainers boot camp. So we're going to be taking through all the tools, tactics and techniques on what it takes, the best exercises. So you're going to walk away there with a whole kit bag of great new techniques and exercises and drills. So not only will we be all having a workout together, but we'll be learning at the same time. And then we get into the business building day part 2 through the Saturday, where we're going to be doing a combination of business building, technical knowledge, and also finally team building. And we're going to be showing you some of the methods on what it's going to take you to rise above and be the best person and the best business person you can be. And then that will be concluded on the Saturday night. We'll be knocking off and enjoying a couple of pre-drinks before we have our gala awards dinner that we'll be holding at the Radisson as well. You'll be our guests there while we'll be running through and outlining a successful year. We'll be awarding the people who have completed their programs and recognising the success. So it's going to be a great opportunity for you to get around people who are out there doing it, regardless of what level you're at. You'll definitely be able to rub shoulders with the type of people that will influence you. No doubt we'll have a couple of drinks and celebrate that night, and you'll be staying at the Radisson again. So yeah, look, it's going to be a huge weekend. We can't wait to have all of our gang together. It's going to be all of our coaching clients, internship clients, accelerated program clients, all along for a great and jam-packed 2 days. So like I said, make sure that you lock those days out, and we'll be telling you the next bit. We'll have the website live sometime this week, so you'll be able to get on there and get a full understanding of it. Partners will be you'll be able to bring along your your partner, husband, wife, significant other, and so Lynn can certainly speak to you about the how that will all work. Look, it's going to be an awesome weekend. I can't wait for it. I'm really excited already, and going through this now, Jace, I'm even more excited. I'm looking forward to experiencing our the Firewalk again. And so, any parting words, Jace, or for the gang who are going to be joining us that weekend?
Just really stay tuned to getting confirmation back to us. We do need to act on. We need final numbers. There's a lot of organisation, as you can imagine. So the sooner that you can get back to us and let us know, if you haven't already, that you're coming and partners coming, that would be outstanding.
Yep.
If you have any questions or you're not sure, or there's just something that you need to clarify, you just need to get a hold of Lynn, and she'll be able to answer any of those questions for you.
Yep.
So I'll just recap what Brad's saying. It's going to be a fantastic way to wrap up the year. It'll be mind-blowing. You'll be down the Gold Coast. If you're travelling from interstate, hey, make the most of it and you have a little bit of a holiday. But, it'd be great to have you all there and, experience this together.
Yeah, enjoy your time on the Gold Coast, hanging out. Great opportunity just to get away. And, can't wait to see you. Look, Jace, thanks very much for today. Certainly enlightened me on a number of things in relation to how the Firewalk relates to business. And, I certainly can't wait to be a part of it again. And there'll be certainly some things for me that I'll be workshopping myself, and which is, I know, going to help me rise to the next level for 2012. So look forward to seeing all the gang on there as well.
Cheers.
Thanks, dudes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.